is going to be a spicy video. Not gonna lie, this is gonna get a lot of opinions in the comments and a lot of trash talking because it is time for my personal tier list. And I did level all the jobs to 100 about a week ago, and because of conventions, surgeries for my mom, and a whole bunch of other reasons, this video has been a little bit delayed. But finally, it is time for me to talk smack, and then for me to simp unapologetically for a few particular jobs that I enjoyed the most. Disclaimer is, this is not a numerical analysis video. This is simply what I enjoyed the most and what you're most likely going to see me on. Let's start off with the tanks. Warrior and Dark Knight actually felt the best to play by a long shot for me. That's not to say Paladin or Gunbreaker felt bad per se, but given the choice, I feel that the Dark Knight and the Warrior both have the most fun rotations and best kits to me. And I know immediately in the comments people are running there saying Dark Knight has a little sustain. I felt really durable on Dark Knight just using TBN and all my cooldowns like properly in a dungeon, and I'm more looking at this for like raid content, because dungeon content I haven't really been particularly challenged at, so Dark Knight I'm not really having any concerns with. Even if it did fall behind a little, I really did find it so sleek and so, not streamlined to the point of boredom, but like, if I pressed something it felt meaningful. And I really do like Warrior and Dark Knight a lot. For me, Gunbreaker and Paladin both kind of have a similar thing. Paladin less so, but Gunbreaker, like, you can still get misaligned and that still feels really bad. Not that I hate it, but given the choice, this is what I'm going to put. And that's what I'm going to say for the rest of these. It's not that you're not going to see me eventually play or sometimes play some of these other jobs. It's just, given the choice, this is what I'm going to do. And for the healers, I'm going to play them all. Let's be real. Do I still think that there should be at least one more on GCD button for Scholar? Yes, please, for the love of God. No, I'm not going back on that. That's how I feel. But I still like it. I think Dawntrail added good stuff. I'm still going to play it. Same thing for White Mage. In fact, White Mage felt probably the best because it's like, I call it like the White Mage Revolver, like where they like go and then they go into their 2-minute phase and then just those glare 4s. I know that there's only 3 shots, but to me it's like just like kaboom, kaboom. It feels so good. Sage got arguably the most interactivity for damage, and yes, it's not that much, but it felt really good to me, and Sage really, it's the powerhouse healer. Like, I think that you'd be kind of silly to say deep, like Sage doesn't feel good, like in terms of like healing output and damage side. It's a really good job. And controversially, Astro, especially with the light speed changes, is the card system exactly what I want? No, it's not. But I can definitely say I enjoyed my time on Astro, and I'm going to definitely be playing more. It got its spot on this list for a reason. And the light speed changes, now that, how to say it used to be 1 charge every 90 seconds. Now that they added both a cooldown reduction of a third down to 60 seconds and 2 charges, it's kind of loopy. It's kind of funny. I like Astro. It's kind of funny. Also, I do like some of the OGCD like combinations. It's just like, hey, what if I play like an arrow plus this? Or what about a Spire plus Celestial Intersection? Hey, that's a lot of off GCD shears. For the physical range DPS, I did enjoy all of them. Like, when I put something in the they're fine category, like, I'm genuinely fine with it. I'd say that I felt that Bard with the new buttons, I almost felt like the new buttons didn't need to be there, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like they were just kind of added to add them, and it just felt like more. Like, Dancer still feels really good to play. I think that my favorite by far, or rather I know my favorite by far, was definitely the Machinist. As soon as they added Dismantle, because that was something that I was calling for pretty early on in the expansion, just like, hey, Machinist doesn't necessarily offer more DPS, because especially, even we can see it in the numbers now, Dancer really scales well with teammates. But Machinist, I said, hey, they need some kind of utility, because it's like they don't have like any mobility ability. I do agree, Bard's mobility ability isn't the best, but I have absolutely gotten good mileage out of it. Whereas Dancer just goes all around the field in that. So Machinist getting the Dismantle, Machinist with all the changes like the Full Metal Alchemist ability and all the rest. I think it feels really good. It feels really sweet. You're summoning your big Omnic Butler more and more often, which I really like. Bob do something. I'm never going to get over that joke. I'm never going to stop saying that joke. I freaking love Machinist for that. In fact, you might not even notice this through editing. I think I'm going to lower Bard to like a C I wasn't too impressed with it. Dancer, I kind of also feel might be a C for me. It's fine, but I'm kind of over it. But I'm not quite over it yet. Kind of over it. Now, for Magical Range DPS, this is something that might surprise people. So, I felt Red Mage felt the best to me personally, and with more experience in the expansion, this may very well change. But Red Mage felt the best to me. I do believe that the changes that the Red Mage got, really to acceleration, I think was the biggest thing, with adding Grad Impact felt the best to me. And that they were very meaningful changes. Summoner didn't change much, and so they're fine, but to me, I'm torn. I do still miss Shadowbringer Summoner. It's now the second expansion, I guess. We're, what, 2.5 years into it? I still miss Old Summoner. Thematically, gameplay-wise, can you deny the popularity of the Summoner? No. And do I think if I really got pushed, come to shove, pushed into playing Magical Range DPS, I'd probably go Summoner or Red Mage. Much more likely Red Mage than Summoner, though. And a large part of that is because I do like bringing utility, and I say that acknowledging and clearly verbally saying, I know that body checks were huge last raid tier, but for me, I do still like having that extra bit of utility. It gives me a little bit more of a sense of agency and control. Black Mage, I'm gonna let the other Black Mages who know a lot more explain why it's here. It's not for me right now in its current state. There was a large appeal when it had the like 200-page book. That's funny, but right now even if we say that Black Mage's numbers are buffed, like, guys, when I'm talking about anything in this tier list, it has nothing to do with the numbers, because things get buffed, things get changed, like, it's not that big of a deal to me, but it just didn't feel right. Like, all of these things are based on my feely feels. Likewise, talking about feely feels, Pictomancer, I feel like I'm playing it wrong when I know I'm playing it right, if that makes any sense. Its rotation, people are going to criticize me in the comments. It's not actually loose. It feels very loose to me. It feels very incredibly forgiving, which makes me actually feel like I'm playing it wrong, which gives me anxiety. Does Pictomancer have great mobility? Yes. Does Pictomancer have great burst? Yes. Is Pictomancer currently the top numbers? Again, this has nothing to do with numbers. It's just, in terms of it and its kit, stripping the numbers aside, it just didn't feel right to me, and I do definitely prefer having more utility and support. Hence why it's here. Now for melee DPS, I absolutely love the Viper. I love the Viper. People are gonna be like, oh yeah, you chose the easy melee. I don't care. It feels fun. It has a fast tempo. I like the Viper. Period. Simple as. Like, part of me was thinking, do I want to take Viper into this tier instead, because I really like it. Reaper also felt absolutely amazing. Again, I want so desperately to tell you, Reaper's positioning here has nothing to do with its numbers. It's just, I really also don't like positionals. I like the Reaper's flow of its kit. I like the transformation into the enshrouded form. That has always been badass. I have said that since I saw Reaper at first. That's badass. It retains its badassery. And yeah, moving on to Dragoon. I think Dragoon is super duper duper incredibly fun. Like, they did rework it a lot, and, like, I honestly, you're not going to see this in editing, I just decided on the fly that I'm going to put it right by Reaper. Like, melee DPS, like, I don't know what Square Enix really did, but I love 3 melee DPS. They're really going to be things that I play. Now, if I had to choose between them, I think Viper would be number 1, then Reaper, and then Dragoon, but Dragoon feels absolutely amazing. And then, from melee DPS, well, Samurai, Monk, and Ninja. And Ninja used to be one of my favorites, but for whatever reason this expansion, I just can't get behind it. And then people are going to be like, is it because you forgot the Mudras? No. Is it because keeping up with Kazumatoi system is harder than the Huton system? No. In fact, I'd say that the system feels almost reductive. I mean, then you could argue, hey, is keeping Huton actually that much different than the Kazumatoi system? I don't want to get into the weeds of that, because I really couldn't tell you. I don't know what it is about Ninja, but I was not vibing with it. It's just like, for Viper, can I pinpoint exactly what? I can generally be like, it feels fast-tempoed, it feels good, it feels rewarding, going into the Ouroboros combo and, like, weaving in, like, the Generation and then Legacy OGCDs feels amazing, and then going to that burst and cycling through feels good. It's like Reaper. I like the double Enshroud window. But can I scientifically break down why? No. And that's kind of what this is. And so here is all my impressions after leveling all the jobs to 100 and trying them out. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm gonna get flamed.